Hi, and welcome back to Living by Faith Homestead, where my little homestead is nestled here in the Appalachian Mountain Range of eastern Kentucky. I try to live a slow life, a self-reliant life, and I'm working on a frugal life as much as possible in this day and age with prices. If you're new here, my name is Tracy. If you're a returning visitor, I thank you for your support. This has been the first video I have done in a hot minute. It really has. I don't think I've posted a video since last fall. I haven't been doing anything in the house over the winter other than working the jobs, and that's kind of boring. But we're starting to get some pretty weather here, some warmer weather, which means it's time to get outside, blow off those winter blues. The birds are singing, the sun is shining. Time to get to work on the homestead. There's so much on my list that I want to do, both inside and outside. Of course, there is spring cleaning inside and a sort of spring cleaning outside as well. I've been working here and there on the spring cleaning outside. I worked on moving some compost and amended my beds. I do have some peas that have come up that I planted Valentine's Day. I always plant them every year on Valentine's Day, and they're looking very pretty. If I can, I had them covered up, which I'm setting on the netting that I laid out here to dry off. I had them covered up, but I uncovered them because the netting was holding them down. And I'm hoping that the rabbits don't get them. They got them last year and took them right down to the dirt, and they struggled to come back. So that was the purpose of the netting, to give them the chance to establish themselves, but we will see. Like I said, I've been amending my beds. As you can see back here behind me, this is one of my beds of onions and garlic, which I winter over my onions like I do my garlic. I don't do well with spring onions, and I'm not a big fan of green onions, so I winter them over so that when I harvest them, when I harvest my garlic, they're pretty good size heads, and they usually can last me not the year, but for several months. I have also been planning out where I'm wanting to extend onto the back of my compost pile to put in another garden bed. With the talk of prices going up on fresh food and everything in general, and with a newly, I wouldn't call it a restricted diet, but a new type of diet that I'm having to follow due to health reasons, fresh vegetables play a very big part in that. And with homegrown, at least I know how they're being grown and what's being used on them. So I'm going to try and grow the majority of what I eat the most of myself and put it up. In addition to what I can, I'll also be putting up my vegetables, whether it's dehydrating or freezing. Now, with the freezing option, I did find out when I cleaned out my deep freezer, spring cleaned it 2 days ago. And that's a rough job if you're a short person. Just let me tell you, a chest freezer is not built for a short person to clean out, but I soldiered through. And what I discovered was that what many people have mentioned in the past, everything falls to the bottom. The stuff that's on the bottom, you forget about it, you don't touch it, you don't look at it. So I threw away a lot of vegetables that I had put up, forgot I had. They got freezer burn, and it was a waste. So what I did when I rearranged everything, I threw away because I won't eat it if it's freezer burned as far as a vegetable. With meat, my grandmother used to tell me you can rinse it off and probably save it, which I've done that several times with chicken. But with vegetables, I don't do that. They just take on too funky, unusual of a taste. So what I did was I threw away everything that looked like it was freezer burned. I did have some that I was able to save. I saved my zucchini, my peas, some store-bought vegetables. Not much, not a whole lot was saved. But what I did was I made me a chart, which I should have done in the past, but I never did. I made me a chart. I'm looking over here at Chiggy if you're wondering what I'm doing. I made a chart to where I pretty much know what's where, what's in the bottom, what's on top, what's on the side, that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping to be able to keep up with that. But I'm really wanting to eat through what I have in the freezer, finish up what I've got in the pantry, which I've really done well on my pantry up until when my health issue came into play. So I'm going to have to rethink what I have in my pantry. I did really well on my dehydrated stuff. I have pieces, parts here and parts there, and a little bit here and a little bit there. I still have I did discover that there was quite a few tomatoes in the bottom of my chest freezer. And I'm going to put those up into tomato sauce and crushed tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, that kind of stuff, because you can't dice them once they've been frozen. I'll make my diced tomatoes out of my fresh tomatoes that I grow this year. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Tomatoes are kind of a thing. Tomatoes and peppers are my favorites. They're kind of an issue with me when it comes to growing them. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but maybe this will be the year. Who knows? So, with all this in mind, I'm having to rework how I'm going to handle my garden this year. I need more space. I need more variety. And I really need to stay on top of things. And I need to get stuff started early. I tried the winter sowing. I don't know if you can see the, yeah, you can see the jars back here behind me. I tried 5 bottles of winter sowing. Nothing sprouted. That technique's not going to work for me, unfortunately. And I've tried to start from seed in the house before. I've never had good luck. I'm going to try it one more time this year. Our frost date isn't until after about mid-May. So if I start now, I should have enough time to get my seedlings pretty established before I put them into the ground. I really don't want to buy store-bought, but I will. That is a fallback, for me to be able to buy. It is an option. Now, in regards to the chickens, they are about 2.5 weeks ago, they started kicking into gear on their egg laying. They have not laid many eggs, maybe one here, one there, since August. Now, the reason for that is, I may have mentioned it in a previous video. I can't remember what I did and did not mention. The reason is that first, they molted. The worst molt they've ever had in their lives. I got 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 3-year-olds. The worst molt they've ever had in their lives. I mean, they were practically like someone had plucked them clean. They got over that, got a little bit more active, started to try and lay eggs, and then I had a rat issue around the coop. This rat issue took me until almost November to figure out how to get rid of them. And I will go over that in a later video, in another video, but the method I found seemed to work well. I tried 4 or 5 different methods. This is the one that worked the best for me. But in the meantime, these rats really stressed my chickens. Now, I've seen people say that their chickens will just pounce on a mouse and eat it. Not mine. Mine would sit on the roost like they were scared to death of it, like it was the devil himself. So I knew I had to do something to get rid of them because they weren't going to get rid of them. And like I said, it took several months. And I thought I would go the route of poison. But the problem is, when they died, they go underneath the house, and the smell was coming up in the house. And what attracted him, I think what attracted him to begin with, was I was throwing the broken eggs. When I collected eggs, I was throwing them into my compost pile. I didn't know any better. Well, I started researching online a couple months ago, and come to find out that will attract rats. So see, between September, when the rats showed up, and before winter, I stopped putting, since September, I stopped putting any scraps into the compost pile, thinking that was what was attracting them. But in the 5 years I've had the compost pile, this is the first year I've had rat problem. This is also the first year that I can remember that I was throwing old eggs into the compost pile. So we will see if that's what the problem was. My compost was really slow this year. It's usable because I've been amending with it, but it was really slow because I wasn't putting much carbon in it. It was mostly nitrogen. It took forever to compost. So fingers crossed, I can start putting my scraps in there that I don't feed to the chickens, because I do feed a lot of scraps to them, and maybe get that compost hot again. I don't know. I never got real hot, but it would compost down pretty, real black. This isn't real black, but it is composted. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, I'm wanting to try and get my water collection system set up this year. I want to collect water in 1 barrel for a garden, 1 barrel for the chickens, and 1 barrel out front just for when our water goes off, to like flush the toilet, to boil and use to clean the dishes, that kind of stuff. And so I need 3 rain barrels, and those are not cheap. So I'm looking for something alternate to a rain barrel. And it looks like it might have to be a garbage can, but I don't like the idea of that because that's not food safe. So I'm still researching that, but I want to get that going this summer. I want to try and either stabilize my run back here, which was just built on the fly, and I never thought it would last this long to begin with because it's just made out of um, water line piping, plastic PVC and hardware cloth. That's it, and zip ties. And it's starting to show some age. I don't know if I'll be able to build a new one physically or financially. Oh, I'm sorry, physically or financially. But if I can't, then I need to do something to strengthen this one up. Don't know what that's going to be yet, but we'll figure it out. I want to start, these are all things I'd like to do this year, in case you're wondering why I keep going from one to the other. This is basically a start of spring video on what I'd like to do this year on the homestead. I'd like to start a foraging thing for the chickens where you build the frame, you put the hardware cloth on it, you put seed under it and let it come up through it, and they can peck the seed. They have pecked I don't know if you can see behind me here, but their chicken yard has been pecked dry down to dirt for 2 years. The only greens they get is when I pull weeds for them or give them something out of the house like scraps. So I'd like to offer them a little bit more variety. It also is an enrichment thing, keeps them busy, and I think they'd really enjoy it. And there was one other thing I wanted to discuss. Oh, I need to get my four-wheeler going. I have not started it for a year, and because I have not started it for a year, the battery's gone. So my cousin's husband, Sean, that lives up here, came Monday and was nice enough to take the battery out for me, and I'm going to take it and see if I can get it replaced. My cousin Kent, who sold the four-wheeler to me, told me to take the battery out and take it with me to, one, make sure I got the proper battery, and two, said that they will give me a slight trade-in on the cord charge. I don't know what that is, but I'm hoping to go to the town that I shop at. We have one local store, a Dollar General, and a Family Dollar where I live here. I'm very rural, but 30 minutes away is a little bit bigger town, and there they have a Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree, auto parts store, that kind of stuff. Dollar General too. And so I'm going to try to go there when I go this week. I'm going to take the battery with me. I'm hoping to go on Thursday. And I also need to get chicken feed while I'm there. So, and pick up a few things at Walmart. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping that my cousin Kent said Walmart should have the battery, and that would work out great. That would mean less running here, there, and everywhere. But we will see. Other than that, well, with the four-wheeler, I wanted to mention the reason I want to get it running is, one, because it doesn't do me any use just letting it set and degrade, and two, I do have a trailer I had bought when I got the four-wheeler off my cousin that I can pull behind me and will make me work smarter, not harder. It will make any movement of dirt or compost or anything so much easier, and less wear and tear on my body and my back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the current thing I'm working on, that I've been working on the last 3 days, because I kindly messed my back up the first day I did it. I did it wrong, so I had to rethink it. So let me switch this off, move you over, and show you what we're working on today. Okay, this is an area behind my compost bin. Originally, I had that rubber mulch in here, and I had some big pots down here with berries and raspberries in it here. Well, I decided that I wasn't utilizing my space. I needed more garden space. So what I did was I cleared all the mulch out, put it into these buckets here, and dumped it. So what I need to do now is I need to get the weeds back far enough so that when I build down through here, I won't have to fight them, because I'm going to go from here, which is my potato box, all the way down there to the back of my onions. I don't know if you can see them. I got a box of onions down there. So that will create me about 2 feet by, I don't know, 18, 20 feet extra garden space. And I'm not really taking up any extra of a footprint because I was already using it for something else. So that's what I'm going to work on now, is working on those weeds. At least as long as my body will let me, because this is something you have to dig out. Okay, I think that will be far enough back for what I want to do. Now, for this down here, I think I'm just going to trim it down real low because the weeds weren't as heavy there. And then when I put my plastic or whatever I put over it, underneath it, that should take care of it. I missed a section there, it looks like. Take care of that right now. Oh, it's so pretty out here. Probably didn't wear the best shirt because I'm already starting to sweat. That's okay. I need to sweat. Okay. Probably should have worn my gloves too, but can never remember to bring them with me. But that's okay. I don't mind the dirt under my nails to a point. Just clean them out every now and then. They'll be fine. Okay, so that didn't take very long at all. I'm going to pull these pots out. It's about right here. If I can get these big ones out. I had a massive major time getting them in here, and I cracked them, and really don't know what this raspberry bush is going to do anything. There's some buds on it, but I've had it for 4 years and never got the first raspberry off of it. Now, my blueberry bush, I've gotten blueberries off of every year, and it is really budding pretty. But I don't get a whole lot, but that's okay because I've grown them. So I enjoy them, and they're usually pretty sweet. I've learned to net them also when the berries start coming on, or else the birds get the advantage of them, not me. First year, the birds ate them all. Lesson learned. This is the last one. And get this one up here. This is my mint. It automatically comes back every year. Probably need to trim it down. I may do that another day. As you can see, there's been a wardrobe change into one of my very large, oversized work shirts. With that sun beating down, it was a little bit warm to have that flannel shirt on to be working. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to weed eat down as much of these weeds as I can. Okay, now as you can see, that's pretty much down to the dirt. And when I build down through here and over to here on this corner, I don't know if you can see it, this corner here, this box here, right here. That'll give me several more feet of gardening space. And I might do my plans to create a little bit of space over in the main bed, but I'm not sure yet. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go dump these weeds, and that's all I'm doing today outside. I might trim a little bit more, but that's about it. So thank you for coming along with me today. That's our day on the homestead. And as always, please like, subscribe, and share. And I do appreciate you coming to visit, and I hope you choose to return again. Until the next time, bye now.